There was some research done in Western Australia a number of years ago where what they did, they got 200 adults to keep track of every calculation they did for a 24-hour period. And then they summarised what they found. And they had to keep track of the context in which they did a calculation, what sort of operations were involved, did they require an exact answer or just an estimate, and what was the context in which it happened. Was it at home, was it shopping, was it to do with entertainment, was it to do with travel? Notice down the bottom, quite interestingly, that 88.2% of all the calculations that adults do involve addition and subtraction. That's interesting in itself because we can get very caught up with multiplication tables, and they're important, but in fact most of the calculations that adults do involve addition and subtraction. But there's one that I want to focus on here, that almost 60% of all the calculations that adults do only require an estimate. We just need to know round about what the answer is. And so estimation becomes an important aspect of the curriculum, even though estimation is not mentioned very often in the Australian curriculum documents, which is interesting. And I want to give you some classroom examples and the power of estimation with learning. I was working with a grade 5-6 class. We were focusing on estimation with distance, because my experience is most students don't have a good sense of what does 27 metres look like as a distance? What does 35 metres look like? A very simple activity that can help them to focus on that and get a better picture, a better benchmark of distance. So here the kids, they're out in the basketball court, they're all lined up, and I say to them, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to walk 37 metres. Straight ahead, where do you think 37 metres is? Walk to that and then stop. So off the kids go. It's interesting to watch grade 5 and 6 kids walk 37 metres, and some of them think, oh, okay, so every step has to be a metre. So you can see for a grade 5-6 girl, that's a fair way to stretch to get a metre each step. And we did some interesting and funny walks along the way. But then eventually they get to the spot that they think is 37 metres. And then I come along with a trundle wheel behind and I'm calling out 1, 2, 3 as it clicks as we go along. And what the students had to record was, okay, it was meant to be 37 metres. When he came past me, I was 28. So they record the 37, the 28, and they work out their error, 9 metres. Okay, so then you can say, I want you to look back there and think about that. So that's 37 metres. We've come from there. Now in this direction, we're all going to head off, and this time we're looking for 29 metres. Off you go. And whereas the first time you've got students who take a few steps and stop, others who are walking into the sunset because they've got next to no idea, the second time there's a dramatic improvement. And within a quarter of an hour, you've got students who are very good at this. And they've got, hopefully forever, a kind of a benchmark. Okay, what does 20 metres look like? What does 30 metres look like? So I mentioned this in terms of deep learning because one of the themes coming through in my examples today is active physical involvement. There's something about that kinesthetic aspect of learning, that students recall something in which they've been actively involved. And it's interesting, we surveyed students in grade 5, year 5 to 8, and we said, what's the best maths lesson you've ever experienced? And a very large number of those lessons involved the students getting up out of their chairs and doing something physically. That estimation approach, I want to just give you another example. Here, students have got a series of angles, so we're trying to focus on the size of an angle. Students are given 10 angles, and we point out to them that when we're talking about the angle, we're actually talking about the bit where the number is, and they have to estimate for 10 angles the number of degrees. So they fill in their estimates, and once they've done that, they're then told what the exact answers are, they work out their error, and they find their total error. Then they're in a position now to hear from the people who were particularly good at estimating. And they say things like, well, I knew 90 degrees looked like that, and it was a bit more than that, or I knew that a straight angle was 180 degrees, so it looks like that. And they're justifying their explanations. And then the students have a go at another set, a bit like outside with the walking the distance, where we have a go, and then we hear from others about how they do, or we've got a benchmark which we can apply, and now we try again, and it's amazing the improvement that students show from one time to another, and they recall that information. So what it means is when they come to a NAPLAN item, for example this one, and we've talked about the angles along the way. Let me give you an example of a terrific tool in relation to that. I wonder if you've come across an angle machine. It's just simply made out of cardboard. You just need a circle, you need a rectangular piece of paper with a little slit that corresponds to the radius, and you feed it through the back. And then the students are encouraged to form angles of different sorts and to give them names. And we can focus on degrees, or we can focus on, okay, that's a reflex angle. How do we know it's a reflex angle? We can get the students to hold them up, and you get a very quick picture of where the kids are at. Do they all know what a right angle looks like? And so on. So these angle machines are powerful. And I would argue if we've had the chance to talk about this, and we all, okay, so everyone show me a straight angle, how many degrees is a straight angle? Then when they do actually get to a NAPLAN item such as this, they're well equipped because they've been shown the language involved, they have a sense of the understanding of it.